Yo, my peoples, what's up? Welcome to 5 and 9 in a one-stop co-op shop, where I go over 5 things you need to know about a game in about 9 minutes or less. I'm going to shoot for that. Today I'm taking a look at Flame and Fang. This one's a fully cooperative game for 2 to 4 players in which you are playing cute hatchling dragons, and over the course of an 8-scenario campaign, you're going to grow your dragons, become mighty, and eventually rid the land of the evil bad. Mechanically, this one has a fair amount going on. The core experience is a card game with multi-use cards and also a deck building aspect. There is scenario-based play with modular tiles. You'll be accomplishing goals depending on what you're playing. You also have some character evolution along the way, so there is a lot in this package that is at the same time designed to appeal to families and gamers alike. And also, how could I forget, this one was designed and published by my good friends Peter and Mike, my partners here in the One Stop Co-op Shop. So if I want to stick around, I better say nice things, right? So how does this one compare to other games with multi-use card play and deck building? How does the campaign play out? I'll answer that and more when I head to the videotape. No need for a review copy disclosure for this one. I back this with my own money. My number 5, very much a pro, is the scenario design. So you are going to get 8 different scenarios that played out over a campaign. Each scenario is going to come out of a deck of cards, culminating in Sorcery and Flame Chapter 8. Little thematic touches that I like. This particular deck goes through a book style. You get to read some flavor text, some setup. From a mechanical perspective, here is my favorite. Now, I'm not going to spoil the 8 scenarios, but I like how this first scenario kind of clues you in on what's coming up. So it says, each time a dragon defeats a minion, A, resolves a growth action, B, or passes their turn while on the fortress, C. What that means is the game is telling you that there are 3 different things that you can do: gather resources for upgrade, move around, or fight. You can do any one of those 3 things and accomplish the scenario goal. I love that because it's telling you you can build your deck different ways. Each time you engage a scenario, you can approach it from a different tactical perspective. You get clued in on that right from mission 1. In addition, as you can see, the tiles are modular. Each scenario will have a different layout, and you'll be doing something different. So there are chase missions, there is tower defense, beat the boss, beat the minions, pick up and deliver. Lots of room to do things differently throughout the 8 scenarios. Overall, very well done. My number 4, a clear mix, is the system of enemies and obstacles. While the overall scenario design allows for different approaches, along the way, the board is going to get flooded with these minions, and they're kind of boring. You see this big deck, and it's basically the only difference is how many hit points it takes to take down. Functionally, they're loot bags. You beat them, you get resource, and you do the more interesting parts of the game, the card play, the deck building. I'll get to that. However, with the way it's implemented, how often you have to beat these things, it gets pretty repetitive pretty fast. For a game like this that has such an adventurous spirit, growing dragons from hatchlings into ones that can defend themselves, kind of put me in the headspace of a How to Train Your Dragon. I feel like this deck could have been a number of challenges. Lots of room for little varied up side missions here rather than just enemies. Felt that was a little bit of a missed opportunity. My number 3, a definite pro, is the turn-by-turn card play that is available to me from turn 1 on. So I have drawn my hand of 6 cards out of my starter deck. I have an immediate decision to make. If I want to take advantage of all of the gather that I have, so I have 3 gather symbols, I would set myself to gather and be able to play these cards. Or I could, if the game needs me to attack for whatever reason, I would set myself to attack. A little bit suboptimal, but if the game needs it, then I got to do it. That tension, that back and forth is there basically every single turn. In addition, these are multi-use. So I could just use these 3 cards for their top, and then that's it. Or if I want to mix up what I do during a turn, then I would start to either discard some of my gathered resource or discard similarly symboled cards in order to get the card's improved function. So do I play the 3 cards and gather a lot of stuff? Do I discard some cards in order to get multiple things done at once? As I buy cards, they're going to have more symbols and powers, letting me do more. I have a reserve system, so cards can pile up here and I can set up for mega turns. As I get injured, my health is represented by cards, so I might take a damage, that gets discarded, and then I pull it up again, and then that is one of my plays to heal. That's pretty innovative. There is so much going on that's positive here in the core card play. My number two, a mix, is the deck building. I feel it is a little bit slow in giving players access to the most fun part for me, which is the advanced cards. So in Flame and Fang, you're going to beat monsters and gather stuff from the board, gather your currency, and as you play this growth card that comes out of your starter deck, there's two of them, you'll have the chance to exchange one of your basics for an advanced. In most deck builders, that's a separate currency. So like you generate gold or prestige, can only spend that on the advanced cards, and they'll come in basically turn by turn or pretty quickly. Here, those tokens are multi-use, so I could use this meat to draw an extra card, or use another token to fire off an extra power, or play a card that I couldn't play. Or maybe I want to use my grow for its symbol in order to fire off something else and not use it to get an upgrade. Or maybe I drew the grow when I don't have anything to take from the advanced row. Now I could see the virtue in that, creates tough choices, and I have to decide when I'm going to grow and how I'm going to do it. The effects that I didn't love are twofold. One, I like deck builders that make the choice matrix here in the hand. I have the advanced cards. How do I play them to maximum effect? As opposed to kind of struggling to get them in, and it's already near the end game by the time I feel like I'm ready to go. The other effect is I end up spending a lot of time with these starter cards. They are more interesting than in a regular deck builder. However, especially over the course of a campaign where you're playing multiple games with this same deck, while this wonderful upgrade road is staring me in the face, buy me, I felt like the pacing of all that was a little bit of a struggle. My number one, another mix, is the campaign nature of the game. So in the first of 8 scenarios, there isn't much except for your personal deck. I feel like that was intentionally done so that you can bring families in. It's not overwhelming, the card play is strong, and that will be the hook. As the game goes on, you get more toys. You get ways to upgrade your deck through these traits. So they're basically iterations of the advanced cards. So you get a leg up there. And then you get another NPC dragon to play with. And then you get some magic tokens. Some stuff comes out of the surprise deck. Don't worry, these are all listed in the rule book, so I'm not spoiling anything quite yet. Combined with that unfolding story of the dragon growing into itself, telling a story over 8 scenarios, I can see why the approach was there. The downside is, for me, I didn't feel like I had enough toys to truly feel clever and unique until around the 4th game, and then by the 8th, I was really humming. To the point where I don't know if I could see myself going back into the first game again with its such simple structure. I kind of want to just dive in and have all my toys if I play this beyond the initial campaign. That aspect, though, I think is entirely group dependent. It depends on what your game group prefers. Final thoughts time. I'm of two minds when it comes to evaluating Flame and Fang. Let me talk first about my own experience when it comes to comparing it to other card-based adventure games. So let's talk specifically about character growth. I think that Flame and Fang is caught between 2 separate paradigms. So first you have your classic scenario-based build throughout that particular scenario, and then have your last few Nova turns where you just have all your toys and boom, boom, boom. But that happens over the course of one scenario. So I think a deck building approach works best in that area because, you know, you have all your cards and then you go boom, 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 and you feel really good. Another way to approach it is if the character growth is isolated to the between steps. So it's like you do a scenario, then you get a whole bunch of character options and you can kind of level up from there. And as you play each individual scenario, you're not worried about powering up. You already have your power and you're ready to rock. The best example I can think of that is Adventure Tactics Domian's Tower. So much character customization happens between turns, and then each scenario kind of plays out the way it does. I think Flame and Fang's character growth, you build in the middle of a scenario through the deck building, and then you have to deflate a little bit, but you get one more toy. And then you build in a second scenario, you deflate, you get another toy. So you get this up and down. 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. Ultimately, it comes together in a really satisfying experience, but it took me 8 scenarios to get there. And for me, again, as a person who enjoys these type of games, I kind of wanted to see the game decide between these 2 scenarios. I don't know if it did enough to kind of marry the 2. to really deliver that powerful, unique punch that these games can sometimes offer. Now, having said that, I don't know that I'm the primary audience for this one. Peter and Mike both have kids ranging from below tween all the way up to full-blown teenager. I can totally see this working to bring a family together, to teach core concepts like deck building and, a map-based scenario play. And that card play really does have a lot to offer, lots of good decisions every single turn. This is Jason with the One Stop Co-op Shop, reminding you that we'll see you at the next stop.